I am Catherine Parker Martin, and I am the chair of the Reston Association Transportation Advisory Committee. And if my husband doesn't hush over here, one of the members, he's going to be ejected from the room. This is a joint effort. This is between the Neighborhood Advisory Committee and the Transportation Advisory Committee and the Pedestrian and Bicycle Advisory Committee. We all wanted to prepare the community for the fact that rail is coming to Reston. It's, as I call it, Reston Rail reality. It is coming, guys. But let me tell you what the format is. So we are here, we brought a group of experts together from Fairfax County who are going to discuss the different elements of transportation, the different modes. They will be talking about the buses. They will be talking about they will be showing you the comprehensive plan. I don't think they'll be discussing it. So we've pulled together experts to talk to you. So this is what I'm going to ask of you. I'm going to ask you not to ask questions during the presentations. We have cards. If you didn't bring note paper, the staff is going to be walking up and down if you need a card. So if you think of a question that you have that you want to take up with an expert at the end at 8 o'clock, we're going to dismiss when the last speaker finishes, and we're going to go back to the expert areas. So you seek out the expert that you had a question with. And the reason for that is because I find with transportation and with rail, every single one of you has a different reason for being in the room tonight. Some of you didn't have dinner and came out because you heard there were cookies. I doubt that. But everyone has their reason. It might be that you're a commuter and you were really looking forward to the schedule and how you're going to get to work every day. Some of you live close to the rail station and you are very concerned that somebody is going to park in your driveway. Hey, I lived in Arlington when rail came. I lived in the town of Vienna when rail came. Do you see a trend here? It's following me. This is my fault. And I actually have a business condo adjacent to the Whaley station, so it is following me. So if there are any developers in the room, if you wanted to go to Dulles, buy me a house out there, it's going to follow me. But I can actually speak from personal experience to the disruption that is caused by the construction and the opening of a station. But it is a reality. It is change. We don't like change very much, but change is exciting, and it's going to bring a lot of exciting things to our community. So what we need to do is check our attitudes at the door, look at this as an opportunity, and decide how can I take advantage of the fact that there is rail coming to the station. You might decide, as many people did in Arlington after a few years, hey, my property is worth so much more and I don't use rail and I'm retiring. I'm going to take the win and I'm going to go. So it's a win-win proposition. People that want to live near the rail station and walk or bike eventually get to secure those properties, and other people walk away smiling all the way to the bank. So and when you have the congestion, which you are going to have for about 12 to 18 months, people are going to have to change their patterns during rush hour. And the patterns aren't going to settle for a while because people might decide, oh, this isn't working, so I'm going to try to do a park and ride, or I'm going to try to take a bus. People are trying different modes to get themselves into that station. So if you are in congestion, this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Don't say that other so-and-so, why are they there? Why are they in my way? Think about you. How can I change my patterns of either how I get to and from work, how I do my retail? How can I change my patterns to avoid the peak times if that distresses you? Okay, so we're going to take some personal responsibility tonight. We're going to listen to the experts. You did the right thing to come out. And I'm going to turn this over to, I did talk about the cards, right? So I hope staff is coming up and down. Raise your hand if you need a card to write down your questions. Kate?
Welcome, everybody, to Reston Association's Conference Center. It's a great honor to have you here. I've seen a lot of faces that attended a meeting that we held in the fall, so it's great to have you here again. Catherine did a phenomenal job introducing the subject matter tonight, so much so that I literally put my written remarks down because she knocked the ball out of the park. She is fantastic. Before we get started tonight, I'm going to give the floor to Congressman Connolly's Fairfax legislative Outreach Coordinator, Mike Collins. Then I'm going to come back to you to kick us off one more time.
Thanks, Kate. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Collins. I am Congressman Connolly's Fairfax Outreach Director. You may recognize me because I'm also a Reston resident, and I spent 3 years on the Reston Association Board of Directors in this very room. And it's very nice to be back in a familiar place and see so many familiar faces. Congressman Connolly couldn't be here tonight, but he did ask me to come and just mention a couple of things. I'm not used to this sort of mic. Anyway, 2 things. 1, Congressman Connolly is not responsible for the construction of Metro. Okay, not responsible. But in all seriousness, no, he has been working very hard, and we had even though he's not on the Board of Supervisors anymore, he has been down. Thank you. Oh, is that better? All right, good. Sorry about that. Anyway, he has been working very, very hard at the federal level to keep the cost of the project down, and we had a huge victory last week where the federal government basically, for all intents and purposes, awarded a $2 billion loan to the project. You'll see in the papers that it says we've been invited to apply. That's a formality. It is going to be a done deal. $2 billion federal loan is about a third of the project overall cost, and that's going to keep the toll rates down for all of us. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm so excited to see it actually be here. It's going to, I think, like Catherine said, it's going to take a whole community to make it actually work for Reston, and you're all going to be a part of that. I hope to be a part of it too. Thank you, Kate.
Delegate Plum and Senator Janet Howell are in Richmond this evening. They also extended their good wishes and excitement about the project as it's coming. What I really wanted to do tonight was recognize the volunteer efforts of the people who put this all together. Our board of directors looks very closely to our advisory committees to help advise them on different actions, policy issues that are of importance to the committee. You've got 3 committees that are represented here this evening. That is our Transportation Advisory Committee. Anybody from the Transportation Advisory Committee, please stand up and remain standing. Okay, great. From our Pedestrian and Bicycling Advisory Committee, anyone here from that committee, please stand up and remain standing. Great. Anyone here from our Reston Neighborhood Advisory Committee, please stand up and remain standing. I want you all to see the people who put this meeting in place tonight. They deserve a round of applause. They put thousands of hours in. Thank you. I also want to recognize tonight one of our board directors who's here, Richard Chu. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Do I have any other board directors in the audience tonight? Okay, all right. Now, most importantly, kicking off multimodal transportation and the importance of Reston, it is part of Reston Association's strategic plan and change and opportunity. Very important to us. I am committed to multimodal transportation. We've got fantastic efforts underway. But the one person who really has been pushing this and is very committed to, who I really want us to kick off tonight, is Hunter Mill District Supervisor Catherine Hudgens. Thank you.
Very hard push. There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to stay seated. I don't know. It may be better if you think it's not coming through clear. Good evening. I'm Kathy Hudgens. I can't see you. That's much better. I'm Kathy Hudgens, Hunter Mill District Supervisor and Reston resident. And I'm delighted. And I want to start out by thanking the advisory groups because this is a great opportunity for the entire community to get a closer look at what's happening with the rail project and how we'll change, and I think in a very positive way in the community. How do we get past the stress? This meeting is with Fairfax County government, Fairfax County Department of Transportation and the entities. We have with us the director of the Department of Transportation, and they're here to answer your questions about all of the things that will be going on. I want to take just a few minutes to talk about some of these things and talk about why it's so important that you get connected with these people and with our office and so that you can understand and have your questions answered about what's happening. First and foremost, we should be excited because I'm a 45-year Reston resident as of in another month. And when we moved here, we told rail was coming. And so I want you to know I am really happy. Even if we're delayed, I'm happy. Because it's been the promise that was made. And we were making, the promise was made because we thought transit was a very important element for Reston. We just had to wait for it. And now it's here. But it also means that the Dulles Corridor is a new, thriving corridor now, with the Phase 1 completion coming and Phase 2 beginning and completing in 5 years. So this is going to be, really, for Fairfax County, the largest increase in transit service in the history of the Metro. And we become now a much larger partner in the Metro system. What does it mean for Reston? I think it means connecting Reston as Bob Simon's dream intended. As we all know, in 1965, there was a bus service here, and it was the initiative just as we are, like we are today. The citizens said, you know, we want to get from this far-long place back into D.C. where most people were working, and we're going to start our own bus because guess what? Fairfax wasn't doing buses then, and not in this area. And so that is, to me, the incentive and the indication to say that we as a community really care about transit. We care about multimodal. The vision of Reston is about how people can connect and walk. I think it's important that you recognize that we have worked in advance of the project to try and get us ready. I think about 5 years ago, we started the Reston Metro Access Group. And we said that if the rail's going to come, we need to look at all of those places. We need sidewalks, intersection improvements, what new other transportation improvements need to be made. And again, we brought a committee of a group of citizens together. They looked at the entire area, not just Reston, but the corridor that we are served by, and said, what things do we need? The good news is we had a good plan, and also the good news is we have quite a bit of that plan funded, much of it constructed, with much more to go. That's the key part to making the Silver Line work for us. The next part that we did is we started a countywide transit development plan, looking around the county because Tyson's is developing, other areas are developing like this, as well as Reston. And we were saying, if you're going to use the Silver Line and our other transit, what are the improvements you need to have? And what we said is that we need to put buses further out into our community, and we need to have those buses running on a time frame that makes us really, really be able to use rail. I remember when the staff went out, the first thing the citizens said to the staff was, I don't want just a peak-to-peak ride. What if I want to stay late? What if I want to go at different times of the day? We're taking all of the buses that are part of the West Falls Church, and we're making those buses out into the community. That means you can walk a block or two in your community, get on a bus, come to the rail. Saves you from parking. And yes, we do have parking. And in a sense, that's a good news piece. In a sense, that's a bad news piece. The good news, it's there, and we understand that we're a terminus station here in Reston, and we'll need to accommodate those folks that will be coming to get rail, at least at this point, before it goes to the airport and beyond to Loudoun. But what we also want is we want you to be able to make a choice about that parking and choose walking and busing and biking. Inside the garage of the 2,300 parking spaces are also bike racks. There is a bike locker room, and there are many bike racks. So we've tried to prepare the community to say that when rail comes, we want to be ready as much as possible, because we already think we have a great community, and we want to keep it that way. I just want to remind you that Phase 1 is completing, and I know we've heard a lot about when is it going to open. The question is, when is it going to open? I started to see if I could think of some interesting comments that you could say about this. And the only thing I can say is, what does one call disappointment? I say silver line. No, that's not right. But that isn't it. Well, it is unfortunate that we are not open today as we thought we probably would be 6 months ago or before. But the important thing, and I'll wear my Metro hat, the organization that will be the receiving operator of it, is that when this project opens, it has to be safe and it has to be reliable. And some of the issues that they're going through are a requirement. The assurance that we have that it will be so is that it's being overseen by FTA. It's being overseen by the Tri-State Overstate Group, which is Maryland, Virginia, and the District of Columbia that works with Metro. And Metro itself is at the table making certain that they're doing as much as they're supposed to do and that they will turn this project over to us only and if it is ready. And that's the most important thing about it. We hope that it can be sooner, but we don't have the magical date. The release that was given by Dulles Transit Project, I think, was a good public statement because it says there are a lot of things that we are required to do. The airport has said that they will not accept it unless all of these things are done, and that checklist has to be there. And for the public and for those of us that are in office and have this as a responsibility, that's the answer that we want, and that's the only right answer that we can give. I'm now going to turn it over to Tom Bashotny. And Tom, if you can talk, Michael's already mentioned the TIFIA piece, and I think you can share other information there. Thank you all very much for coming. I'm going to stay to hear the discussions that's here, and I want to introduce one person. Where is Paul? Paul Davis? There's Paul in the back of the room. Paul is the transportation aide in my office. I think a lot of people already know him, but get to know him if you have a question, because there will be questions that you will have about parking, bus services, anything that comes up. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Supervisor Hudgens. I am Tom Bashotny. I'm the Director of Fairfax County's Department of Transportation, and we're very excited to be here tonight. We have been excited to work in your community and to continue to work in your community. We have a panel of our team here today to talk to you about various aspects of the transportation improvements that are coming for your community. Charlie Strunk is going to talk a little bit about the bike program. Chrissy Wagner is going to talk about the changes to the transit service. Chris Wells is going to talk a little bit about the pedestrian improvements that are coming. But we also have other members of our team. Leonard Wolfenstein in the back is here to talk to you about the comprehensive plan changes. Jane and Audra are here to talk about the Soapstone Connector. We have Adam Lind in the back, who is also going to talk about some of the pedestrian improvements as well. Ellen Kamalakis is going to help out with answering your questions on the changes to the Fairfax Connector. As Supervisor Hudgens mentioned, this is a really big deal. Right now in Fairfax County, we only have 5 metro stations, and we're going to be adding 5 new metro stations. As part of that, we're going to be changing 40% of the Fairfax Connector service, and that's a really big deal. We've never done that before. And so we've been working for a long time. We're going to be, we have completed pedestrian and bicycle improvements. We have a lot more coming, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that. We'll look forward to talking with you about your individual questions at the tables in the back at the end of the presentations, and we'll be continuing to work with you during the next several months before rail opens, but we don't go away. We're going to continue to work on these projects even after rail opens, and we'll be making tweaks and adjustments and changing bus service to reflect demands and actual ridership once it begins, and looking for other opportunities to serve the community. So I'm going to stop there, but I do want to introduce Patty Nickerson. Patty has been a longtime resident of the Reston area. She has been a tireless supporter of the Dulles Rail project as part of her role as the president of the Dulles Corridor Rail Association. She's also been the chairman of the task force that has looked at the Reston Master Plan And that's been a 4-year effort to look at those areas around the rail stations, see what adjustments we need to make to the comprehensive plan, and really set us up for the future development around the rail station. So Patty, I know you have a presentation for us.
Thank you. I am a 27-year Reston resident. I am a planner by profession, and I was in the District of Columbia when rail opened in D.C., and I was a planner there. And then I worked in Arlington County, when rail came to Arlington County, and I saw it transform both jurisdictions. And working in Loudoun County, taking the commuter bus in, I always wanted to see someday the rail arrive, and I've been pleased that over the years I've been able to do something to help make that happen. We had a terrific task force. Let's see. I press, what do I point at?
Just
Technologically adept, huh? Let's see, did I skip one? Okay. I put this slide in because it does show the Silver Line as part of the current 106-mile system, and we're going to add 23 more miles, just to remind us all of the access it's going to give us to the rest of the region, to the center core, but also to many other things throughout the region, some of the cultural and educational opportunities, and also to provide people in other parts of the jurisdiction access to our jobs and all of the things we have out here. I couldn't resist at least throwing a picture in of our Wheelie Avenue station. It's looking pretty good these days. If you've been by, definitely complete. I'm told the garage is complete. They've tested the buses, right, Tom? And the fare system's there, and they're just ready to roll whenever we get the go-ahead that rail's going to be there. This was our study area, the Reston Master Plan Task Force study area. Kathy Hudgens appointed a task force. It consisted of 25 members and 16 alternates. Actually, she had some of the major business and civic groups appoint their own members, so it was a diverse group, but they're all Reston residents, highly talented, a lot with planning and legal and architectural backgrounds, so it was really a lot of fun to work with them. This was our area of concentration. You can see it's the 3 stations. Wheelie, Reston East is the one on our right. In the center is the Reston Town Center station, and on the left is the Herndon station. And as you can see, you look at Wheelie Avenue, our study area didn't go below Sunrise Valley. We didn't deal with the residential areas. And in the center, Reston Town Center, we didn't address the core area, but we did take a look at the area that we call Town Center North. It's where the current government center is today, and the hospital and Cameron Glen, I guess Innova's got a facility there. So that was included in our study. And then over on the left is the Herndon station, and of course the town of Herndon's right north of the toll road, and they did their own planning effort. So we looked at the area that was south of the Dulles Toll Road. This figure shows the land uses on the map. Within a quarter of a mile of the transit stations, the dark purple areas mostly, we were very much interested in the jobs housing balance in Reston. It's been demonstrated, and particularly in Arlington, that if people can live near the transit stations, they're more likely to take transit to work, but they're also more likely to walk to the offices that are going to come there. So that was a big issue in the task force, and for the areas closest to the station, we had a 50-50 split in terms of square footage, commercial, non-residential and residential. And in the areas a quarter a mile to a half a mile, we went up even higher. 75% of the building areas was to be devoted to residential and 25% to non-residential uses. The green dots, if you can see them, we wanted to see a major park facility in each of the transit station areas. And then the purple-colored ones are the transit station districts, mixed use, and the brown-colored areas are the ones where the residential is going to predominate. They're residential mixed-use areas. The plan also addressed some of the other neighborhoods, and I know this isn't very clear. The plan is online. It includes comments and plan designations for the other neighborhoods in Reston within the close to the transit station. This was phase 1 that we dealt with. There's going to be a second phase, Kathy, maybe phases 2A, B, and C. I don't know how. Phase 2 kicking off in a couple of months. So that will be looking at the village centers and the other residential parts of the community. This is a summary of the development potential. Will you make this available online if Absolutely. People want to take a look at it closer? We're going to go within the planned areas from about 6,000 housing units today to about 29,000. And this is the emphasis on housing that we talked about. We're going to allow up to 9 million more square feet of commercial development. And you know, for years on both sides of the toll road, there were covenants, restrictive covenants, that prohibited constructing residential units and hotels. So we're hoping that most of the hotels had gone to Herndon, that now as part of our mixed use around the transit stations, we'll be able to have hotels as well as residences. That was our vision, a complete community designed for the 21st century with a broad choice in jobs, housing, and lifestyles for an increasingly diverse residential populations. I mentioned she appointed the task force. One of the first things we did, we were appointed and had our first meeting December 2009. And then in early 2010, we had forums with the community where staff brought in a lot of the statistics, the land use, the demographics, the trends, and we sat down with members of the community, and maybe some of you were there, and brainstormed. We had one major meeting for each of the transit station areas. Our task force, we didn't have a lot of fancy consultants. Really, it was a working task force, and what we did is we appointed 3 committees, one for each of the transit station areas, and they met roughly for a year and a half, sometimes as often as once a week, certainly every 2 weeks, and brought in the developers and members of the community. And they each came up with their own recommendations and report. We also had a vision committee that took a look at the entire study area and tried to look at things like the environment and sustainability, urban design, how to reconcile the transportation elements. You'll see some of that later. And in the end, we had a steering committee to help guide the process. That was the co-chairs of each of these committees. Each committee had a developer or developer representative and a citizen as a co-chair. And that worked out very well. Often the developers and their lawyers brought us back to reality and what might be possible, but it was a good working group. And then at the end, we had our own report writing group. And we have online a draft report. We were fortunate to have John Carter, an urban designer, on our task force, and he helped us prepare what I have down there next. We adopted a vision and principles document, which the task force approved in 2011. It's got some wonderful graphics. It's online. He laid it out for us. We subsequently, in February 2013, we adopted a report, Achieving the Vision for Reston, that talked about the kinds of things we wanted to see in our community. If we were going to give developers additional density, we want to see a performing arts center, an indoor aquatic center, an indoor recreation facility, more crossings of the Dulles Toll Road, people paying for streets of grids of streets. So we have and our recommendations for performance measures actually were pretty much incorporated into the final plan document. So the task force was hard at work. We wanted to build on Bob Simon's original principles, excellence in planning and architecture. The environmental sustainability has always been important to Reston. We wanted to have development phase with the provision of the infrastructure, not get ahead of the roads or the schools. I mentioned the jobs housing balance and the ratios we're going to have in the areas. Open space and athletic and recreation facilities was also another important issue for the community. I pointed out that we're going to have at least one major park facility and one athletic field in each of the transit station areas. but it's also going to have a total of 12 new athletic fields in the new or enhanced at existing sites. So that, of course, is really important to our lifestyle here. We like to get out and exercise and bike and work. I mentioned the mix of uses. This is kind of unique. Instead of tying the density to a specific parcel, those districts that are in the land use map that are purple or brown have a range of densities. So say, for instance, at Wheelie Avenue, where the current Comstock project is, you could go from 2 to 3 floor area ratio. That's a measure of density. I don't know. 1 floor covering the whole lot would be 1 FAR. And 2 floors covering half the lot would be the same thing. I don't know if you're capable of doing the math, but 2 to 3 in Reston is going to be an increase. And we wanted to give staff the flexibility to be able to award density if the developer was going to propose some of these things we wanted, like contributions to one of the crossings of the toll road or some major athletic facilities. So this plan gives the staff a little bit more flexibility, and I guess our supervisor, to negotiate with the developers to make sure we get some of these amenities we want. We also wanted to enhance our trail system, expand our bus system, and make use of an aggressive transportation demand management measures. I mentioned 3 crossings of the Dulles Toll Road, 1 near South Lakes, 1 soapstone, this would be west of the existing Wheelie Avenue station, and then an underpass in the Reston Town Center area. So those were the crossings that helped us in our traffic impact analysis to kind of meet the level of service in the plan to make it acceptable. We approved the staff set to work then in the end of 2013, taking a lot of the work that the task force had done and came up with draft plan text language. And our task force approved it in November of 2013. There was a planning commission public hearing. They approved the text in January. Went to a Fairfax County public hearing at the end of January, the 28th, and then they adopted the plan just a couple of weeks ago, February 11th. There were follow-on motions Kathy Hudgens made. She, I guess, looked at what our planning commissioner had recommended and what the planning commission adopted. And the follow-on work is going to be taking a look at urban design and seeing what kind of Reston-specific design features could be incorporated to future development. And then in terms of transportation funding, how are we going to pay for all of the transportation improvements that are going to be needed? They recognize there's going to have to be some public contribution, but also private sector is going to have to step in and pick up a lot of the tab. And then to take a look at evaluating and doing an operational analysis of our enhanced street network. I'll show you a picture of the grid, but it's going to be have a lot more roads, so we won't all get stuck at Wheelie Avenue and Sunset Hills in congestion. We'll have alternate routes that parallel Sunset Hills Road and on the south side, Sunrise Valley. That's what the grid of streets is going to give us. I just wanted to show you that we do have aggressive transportation demand management measures. For instance, for office, within a quarter to a half a mile of the station, they want to reduce the number of trips by 30 to 40%. 45 to 35%. So Fairfax is now, I mean, when I first moved here, it seemed like cars ruled. But in the last 5 or 6 years, especially with the planning for Tyson's Corner, the county's become a lot more aggressive and creative in programs to try and get people out of their cars, providing improved bus service. And of course, now we got the best thing of all, is Metro. And I'm sure that that's going to help us get a lot more people out of their cars. And certainly worked in Arlington, where traffic on the arterial streets in Arlington and the Rosslyn-Ballston corridor has remained pretty much the same in a 30-year time span. So we know it can work if we get enough residents there. And we offer people other choices. I wanted to show you the plan has for each of the transit station areas the bicycle plan. That's what these little dots are. It also has a conceptual street network. That's the grid of streets. We came up with our vision and principles, and that's in this document that's online. This just shows that we're going to, this is our urban designer at work. We're going to offer a mix of urban and suburban. We're going to become a vibrant employment center, and we're going to protect our residential neighborhoods. Housing will be provided for all ages and incomes. We're concerned about high-quality public open space, and public participation is going to continue to be a hallmark of our community. We're going to enhance our street network. We're going to protect our open spaces. Public art's very important. Reston is, I guess, one of the first communities in the country to have its own public art plan. We're also very much supportive of good urban design. We have design review boards, and we want to see that continue. There are in the plan design proposals for how to do our streets, so they're complete streets. They have trees and landscaping and bike trails, and the plan does contain a number of sections and drawings that show you how that would work. Open spaces, I mentioned, of course, that's for many people what drew them to Reston, and we're going to try and protect what we have and certainly enhance and expand on the open spaces in the community. That's public art, taking a look at what we have and building on it. There's going to be art in the transit stations too. Some of you may have gone to Reston Historic Trust, had a session a couple of weeks ago where they brought in members of the task force that looked at the proposals for art in the stations. So each station is going to have art as part of it, and we want to see a lot more art throughout the community as it redevelops. Good architecture. This was one of drawings from one of our reports that shows in the town center north, the top of the screen, you can see we want to see that area focus around a major public open space. And that is also in the adopted comprehensive plan drawing that shows that the concept for that roughly 40-acre area, which is owned only by two owners, the county and Onova. So we know that people are working very hard on trying to come up with a comprehensive plan for that area. And hopefully it will include a new government center and a new regional library, and as well as a major park. Green building technology, we want to remain a leader in this field. And this is the kind of detail I just wanted to show you that we went into in our visioning, really taking a look at each transit station area and what were the kinds of resource protection areas that were there, streams, buffers, wetlands, ponds. Expanding the pedestrian and bicycle access, expanding the street network. And here's what shows you what the grid could look like. It's not there today. They're largely suburban office parks. But you could see we're going to try and provide a lot more ways to get in and out of the transit station areas. And bike trails. All right, well, that was a brief summary of our planning effort, and we're just delighted that finally we have it, and when rail comes, we're going to see some more village centers. Somebody said it was originally planned for 7 village centers. I think it was you, Kathy. And we only have 5, but now we're going to be able to get 3 more at the transit station area, so many more of us will be able to live a walkable lifestyle. And thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to introduce the next speaker, evidently. Okay, we're going to go to our Fairfax County OT staff now. So, Chris, you going to come up to the podium?
Thank you.
And wow us with your presentation? Aha.
Figure out the clicker. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Wells. I'm the Pedestrian Program Manager for Fairfax County. Thank you for having us here tonight. I want to begin by sharing the enthusiasm for the opportunity that your community has. you are about to be delivered with a rail project that will allow you to go to Clarendon for lunch or go to the National Mall with the out-of-town guests or the grandkids and that kind of stuff. So it's an amazing opportunity. Of course, there's going to be challenges in learning it all, but it really is an amazing opportunity. A minority of Fairfax County residents have the opportunity to walk, bike, or easily access transit stations to really enjoy those benefits. So congratulations. What I wanted to highlight a little bit is what we've done and what we're looking to do. The pedestrian program was established by the Board of Supervisors in 2002 in response to pedestrian fatalities and injuries, because it's a very serious subject. We have a large county. Since that time, the board has funded $110 million of pedestrian projects throughout the county. I have a listing of some of the things we've done over the past years, starting with, not exactly in Reston, but you all will know it, the Centerville Road underpass at Herndon, which used to be treacherous for pedestrians and had no facilities, and we were able to squeeze a facility under there in a slightly innovative way. We've added crosswalks to the Fairfax County Parkway. We've added intersections, intersection crosswalks throughout Reston. We've done sidewalks on Fox Mill and Glade, McLaren, Reston Avenue, Soapstone, Wheelie, and Sunset Hills around the station areas. What you all are probably more interested in is the new stuff that's happening at the station areas now, and what we're looking to do in the future. And I apologize for the little map's a little hard to see, but we've got it in the back, and that's the whole plan tonight, that you can come take a look at the map and ask questions and see what we're doing. So some of the projects we've done over the years are in the vicinity of the Wheelie station, and they're within a decent walking distance of the station. What's been going on now is, of course, the construction associated with the station. That's mainly the work that is being done by the rail project. Around all the station approaches, there will be new crosswalks, new walkways to get you into the stations. We, as Fairfax County, have used what funding was available to us over recent years to move forward with other things that need to be done for the station. The one thing that is tangible before station opening, the west side of Wheelie from Sunrise leading to the station entrance, we widened as much as possible to give as much capacity, because we know that's where everyone's going to be funneling to the station on foot and on bike. We have future projects to build an additional walkway on the south side of Sunrise Valley. Most of Sunrise Valley only has walkways on the north side, so we have a project to build a walkway on the south side of Sunrise Valley from Soapstone to South Lakes. Then also planning out for the Reston station, another one on the south side from Reston Parkway over to Glade. We have other intersection projects in the work for them. So a lot has been accomplished. Honestly, a lot still does need to be accomplished. In discussing with some folks here at the beginning of the session, we went over where we stand with what we're anticipating now. Personally, I'm almost in a wait-and-see attitude. There's been a lot of projections of what's going to happen traffic-wise, pedestrian-wise, and in our line of work, it's called human factors engineering. We can't exactly predict what the humans will do. So at this point, we need to observe what the humans do after the station's opening, and then we are prepared to react. So, for instance, our walkway project along Sunrise Valley, which is still a couple years out for a brand new walkway project, we've committed that if in the short term we can use that funding to do some crosswalk enhancements or things that make sense, things that we can get VDOT to approve, because the background of our world is always that VDOT has to approve our work, that we're committed to look to being on site at station opening, after station opening, to see are there some things that we can do in the near term ahead of longer term projects that can provide some better access and better safety to the station. So with that, that's a summary. We have a list of the proposed dates for some of the projects right now, which are still a few years out. But come talk to us afterwards. Give us your ideas. I've always learned that there's nothing better than the local knowledge of the folks that live there and are here 24/7. So please come talk to us. Give us ideas about what more we need to do. With that, I will introduce Charlie Strunk of our bicycle program.
Okay, Roy, do you just push that? All right, Chris started with enthusiasm. I'll end with enthusiasm. But anyways, my name is Charlie Strunk. I'm the bicycle program coordinator for Fairfax County. And I just want to, I'll make a pitch for the bike program. We're relatively new. The board created us about 7 years ago. And we were tasked to pretty much make Fairfax County bike friendly and bike safe. So we're getting there. Some of the things that we did early on, and this is global for the county, is 7 years ago we made sure that all of our Fairfax connector buses had bicycle racks. So that was like the first thing. We did a bicycle map. The board really, really wanted a bicycle map, so we did that. We started an improvement program for bicycle parking. I always hear people say, geez, Charlie, you told me to bike to the metro station, and I got there and there was no bike parking, and I tied my bike to a tree and I got a ticket, blah, blah, blah. So we've had an ambitious bicycle improvement program, and you've probably seen that around Reston. We have bicycle lockers at the park and rides, and we have new bicycle racks at Herndon Monroe and some of the other sites. So we've been working on that, and that's an ongoing program. And I'll leave the best for last. But we also, Reston has been fortunate to be the site for the very first VDOT road diet, and that was Lawyers Road. We did that about 3 years ago, and it was without, or it was with controversy. I was in. Kay and I were on opposite sides on that one. But Lawyers Road was the first road diet done by VDOT in Northern Virginia, and it has been proven quite successful. And then we followed that with Soapstone, and we actually have a few more coming. We tie these with summer repaving programs because that way we get the big bang for our buck. So watch for more. And then the other big thing that we're working on right now, and we're actually in the home stretch, is our bicycle master plan. And this will be the first bicycle-specific master plan for the county. And we've got the map in the back room, and we'll be back there afterwards. So if you want to look at it, Adam and I will be back there. It's going to lay out both an infrastructure plan for the county, as well as it's going to set down some bicycle policies on how we can maybe make the county more bike-friendly. Involving education, enforcement, and things like that. So I'm going really fast. I'm from New York, so I go fast. But I wanted to end on this note. We are very excited about the Silver Line. And one thing that I do want to mention is, and I don't know how many people know this, but Reston is our #1 bikeable community in the county. We have a lot of bikers down in the Route 1 corridor. We have bikers in Tysons, but Reston seems to be where all the bikers are. And Reston was nominated and received through the League of American Bicyclists last year, and correct me wrong, Kelly, but I think it was a bronze nomination as a bicycle-friendly community, and that's quite an achievement. The application process is awful. I'll leave it at that. But anyways, congratulations, Reston. You are the first community in Fairfax County to receive this. Arlington is bicycle-friendly, Alexandria, D.C., but this was quite the feat for Reston. I mean, you got good things going on. So I just want to mention that. And then on that note, we're continuing our progress. In conjunction with the Silver Line, we've taken bicycle parking to a whole new level. We are actually introducing a bike room at the Silver Line station at Reston Wheelie Station. The room is, do I just push this green button? Yeah?
The green is a laser.
Oh, I'll kill somebody.
If you want to point like this, you can.
No, I don't want to do that. How do you change it? Just forward? Get back up here. So anyways, we're proud of this room. This is a new concept for Fairfax County. This is our first bike room. There will be others in various sizes. We've got a little one going in at the Stringfellow Park and Ride. We have some coming on board with the Phase 2 expansion of the Silver Line, but this is our very first one. So it's a new concept. You've seen lockers around. You've seen racks around Reston. This is a secure room. We've got approximately 4,200 square feet in the garage area of the Wheelie Station. Membership is required, and actually Patty She's our first member. We have introductory rates, so if you act now, operators are standing by in the back of the room. But it's 4,200 square feet of space. It's secure. You have to be a member, and then you get one of these little doodads here. This is your electronic access, so this is how you open the door. There are cameras inside, so that it's a higher element of security. Right now, the room is configured to hold over 200 bikes, and as of tonight, we have 131 members of the bike room, so it's filling up. In addition, I mean, you really can't say, I kind of toned that back, but we have two types of racks in the room. You can kind of make out, those are called vertical space savers. We put those in there because we can get more bikes in a smaller area. We also have floor mounted racks, so we have different types. We also have parking for oversized bikes. I hear from mothers who are now taking their kids to daycare with bike trailers, and then when they come to Silverline's not open, but when they come to other stations like College Park, it's like, well, where do I put my bike and my trailer? So we do provide parking for oversized bikes. And then we've got some amenities in there. We, of course, have benches, because some of the bikers want to change their shoes and get out of their clipless pedals. We've got message boards so people can leave messages and things like that. We'll probably have to critique those messages periodically, but we've got a workbench, and then we also have fix-it stations. So there's two fix-it stations in the room. And what they do is they're air pumps and they're tools so that you can do light maintenance. I mean, you can't rebuild your bike, but if you get a flat tire or if you have to make a minor adjustment, those are in the room. So it's really cool. I think it's hard to see. In addition to the room, there are also bicycle racks outside of the room. So if you're not a member, or if you're just swinging by for the day or something like that, so you have an option there. It's outside the room, so it doesn't require access. It's a little less security, but it's still a nice facility. The fix-it station is kind of like that vertical photograph in the center. It's hard to see, but anyways, we're really excited about this. My biggest fear was we were going to open this room up the day one and have one bicycle in it, but I can sleep at night now. So, and we'll be back there. Ask away. Thanks.
Great job.
Oh, geez, I forget. See, I always forget something. Next on board is Christy Wagner, who is our Fairfax Connector person.
Fairfax Connector person. I like that title.
I'm improvising.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christy Wagner, and I am the planning manager for the Fairfax Connector bus system. It's nice to see everyone. In the spirit of enthusiasm about the Silver Line, I want to say that I, too, am very, very excited to see the Silver Line start operating and to roll out a bunch of great new bus service for Reston in support of the Silver Line. So I think we're all enthusiastic here. I wanted to just give you a very quick overview of the development of the Silver Line bus service plan, because we spent a good part of last year developing the plan. I want to touch on some of the highlights of the plan and then get into a little bit of the Reston service highlights, what you can expect on day one. I want to go over quickly the timeline for implementation and give you an overview of what you can expect besides the lovely bike room and the wheelie garage. Okay, so the Silver Line bus service plan. We, as I think Supervisor Hudgens mentioned, we started our transit development plan about 4 or 5 years ago, and that really was the starting point for the Silver Line bus service plan. So we looked at what the TDP recommended, and we drafted a plan, and we took that out to 2 rounds of public meetings. And I've been to the Reston Association at a meeting. We've had, I think, 4 public meetings in Reston last year. I see a lot of familiar faces. Can I get a show of hands who actually attended one of our meetings? Okay, great. All right, good. And we heard a lot of good things. We went out with a plan, and what we heard was, that's not good enough. We want more midday service. We want later night service. We want more weekend service. And I think we did a very good job as staff in revising our plan and putting that back out for more public comment. So we went out basically the first half of 2013, gathering comments, digesting them, revising our plan, and we presented it to the board in June 2013. Basically, the overview is we are adding about 10% more service to the Fairfax Connector bus system. And as Tom mentioned, 40% of our existing service is changing. So if I have bags under my eyes, I hope you understand why. We've been very, very busy working on this plan. Oh. Okay, so what does the plan mean? Essentially, all the routes that currently terminate at West Falls Church are being realigned to serve the Wheelie Reston East Station. And what that means for us is that all the resources that were required to run the bus to West Falls Church are being rolled back into the service area. We're really excited about that. It means that your peak service, the 553, 554, 552, 557, that today run every 35 minutes will be running every 18 minutes when the Silver Line starts. It means we were able to bring new routes to Reston, to Herndon, to Vienna, and to McLean. We've expanded the neighborhood service in Reston. We've added 15 new routes. We are eliminating 5 routes, but I want to say that no area, no street that currently has bus service today will be without bus service when the Silver Line opens. We did that. We were very thoughtful with our service plan. There will be 10-minute service between Reston Town Center and Wheelie Reston East. There'll be 5-minute service in the peak periods between Herndon Monroe Park and Ride and Wheelie Reston East. And we have a 3-route circulator bus system in Tysons that will be running every 10 minutes during most hours of the day. So for Reston, what does this mean for you? As I mentioned, you have new midday and weekend routes. Route 558, that will cover some of the territory that North Reston enjoys with the 552 and the 554. We have new Route 559 that will cover the territory that is currently provided by the 553 and the 557. We have a new Route 507 that will provide service east of Wheelie along Sunrise Valley and Sunset Hills, replacing portions of the existing routes 951 and 52. We have a new Route 599, that's our Crystal City Pentagon Express, that is replacing the 595 and 597. Route 551, that route actually has a significant amount of service approved for the Silver Line plan. They will be running 7 days a week. It's mirroring RIBS 2 in the opposite direction. We definitely have heard a lot of interest in more RIBS service, so we think the 551 enhancements are our first sort of stab at getting to the frequency that the community is looking for. And again, the more frequent rush hour service on the peak service, 552, 553, 554, 557, and 574. This is a map, and there's a printed version of the map at our table in the back. This is the overview of the network of bus lines in Reston when the Silver Line starts. There's a lot of coverage, a lot of neighborhood coverage. We are trying to get people from their doorstep to the Wheelie station. If we can prevent you from getting in your car and driving there, then we'd like to do that. And we think with 18-minute service in the peak periods that we will be successful. Okay, so switching gears now to the Wheelie Garage. I know Supervisor Hudgens mentioned we have 2,300 commuter parking spaces at the garage. The board approved a fair parking rate structure that mirrors the existing metro fares at Fairfax County garages. So if the rail opened today, it would be $475 a day to park there on, I think it's after 10 a.m. on weekdays. There is short-term parking available. We have monthly reserve spaces, low-emission vehicle spaces, and carpool spaces. And there will be a kiss and ride. In the bus vault is what we're calling it. There's 10 bus bays, so the majority of the routes in Reston will be going inside the garage. There are a handful of routes that actually will serve the ramp bays on Wheelie, and I'll go over that at the next slide. We did a stress test of the Wheelie Garage, which was very interesting. We have about 100 buses an hour in the peak periods going in and out of that garage, and that's a lot of buses. So we wanted to make sure the buses were assigned in the appropriate bays, that the schedules worked, that the buses could make the turns. And we did the stress test, I think it was in November, and it was wild. It was exciting, and I would say it was successful, although we had no one riding our buses. But it was, from an operations perspective, I couldn't have been more pleased with the outcome. Again, I won't speak more about the bike room, but there's a bike room, and it's secure. And so this is a map of the bay assignments for the Wheelie Garage. I apologize for the small print. So as you can see, most of the bays in Wheelie are occupied by several routes. We have MWA, the flyer to the airport, will be in the Wheelie Garage. We have 2 routes that will be boarding and alighting passengers on the ramp bays. Loudoun County has expressed interest in serving the ramp bays. And there you go. So our timeline, we've been working very diligently on finalizing the timetables for this. We really want to start getting out in the community and handing out schedules. Our goal is to have everything up online and printed by the end of March. We are going to begin our aggressive marketing and outreach program about 1 to 2 months before the Silver Line opens, which is a moving target, so it is a challenge for us, but this is a good opportunity to start that outreach, to get out in the community and start the dialogue with people. We'll be doing our normal ambassador program. So we'll try to reach existing riders at key transit hubs, Herndon Monroe, Reston Town Center, West Falls Church, Reston South Park and Ride, Reston North Park and Ride. We'll have materials on the buses. We'll be doing advertising. We'll have a Wheelie open house at some point. And there will be a lot of community outreach. I spoke with a few of you before the meeting, and I just wanted to tell everyone that if you have an association, a civic association, a homeowners group, a church group that you think would benefit from one of us coming out there and talking about the service, we're happy to do that. Just please stop by our table in the back of the room. We really want to get out there and provide as much information to anyone who will listen. And the new bus service will start on day 1 of Silver Line. I don't know when that is.
Maybe not until next year.
And with that, I'll turn it back over to Catherine.
Okay, I have one more speaker, but before that, I realized something that we somehow missed was talking about the parking permit programs for residents. Can you speak to the 2 that qualify because they've already, can you speak to that?
Well, somewhat.
Tag, you're it.
Only one time. Okay. For the parking permit for neighborhoods, that's the issue. If a neighborhood has some problems with parking, people coming to their neighborhood to park to use the service, based on a certain percentage of spaces that have been used, you can report to us, and the county will look at providing a parking permitting district for you. It means that you must come together and apply, and it's actually a citizen-run process. So we will help you set up that process, and you can vote to say you want your community to have a pass system. What it does is it allows you to reserve space in your own community and set up guest spaces.
Kathy, can I interrupt you? Just to clarify, this is for residential that are on VDOT roads, not private roads. Okay.
It's not, and we've already dealt with some of those. What's interesting in Reston that there are some private streets and then there are public streets, and so we have one cluster that we're going back and forth, and we have part of their cluster that's going to get a permit district, and we've had to work out to make sure that they can be accommodated on their private streets. But yes, we're only on public streets, and it is a threshold program. You can't just say today I think I'd like to have a parking district, or I feel like I need a parking district. You really have some criteria to go through, and so you can contact us in our office. And some of you have already started this process, but you can contact us in the office, and we will set it up, and our office will coordinate with the community group in order to provide the process. It has to be approved then by the Board of Supervisors, and by doing so, you now get a permit for your street in order to make sure that you have a place on your own neighborhood to make sure you can park.
Okay, thank you.
That was it.
That is one of the questions that I have received the most, and as I said, living in Arlington, living in Vienna, parking was a big issue. What is different, and I'm going to say this because of the Neighborhood Advisory Committee, we've had this conversation before. If you are in a condo or you are in a cluster, you are most likely on a private road. So don't don't contact Kathy about that. There are alternatives in the business community where you have, and many of you probably already have permit programs where you have a private towing company. But that is a decision that the condo and cluster associations on private roads need to make on their own. That is not something that Reston Association or Fairfax County stand to assist you with. I also get the questions about parking in the commercial areas. I'll point out those are commercial areas, and again, they're going to need to deal with that. They're on private property. They own their own parking lots, so they will need to be addressing, similar to Tyson's has had to do for a long time. They will need to address that. I think you're going to see some of the commerce right there is going to have to change over to a permit program. But again, it's private property. It's not something that we can control, nor Fairfax County can control.
And I think you will quickly learn places that are not appropriate. But I do want to emphasize this, that's very important, that is the driver of it. And we've had this before, but the key is that you have to be aggressive to say when it has reached the threshold. And what is it, 40 some spaces? You have to have a certain amount that have been utilized that says that you're inhibiting a community. The other part too is people are going to be concerned. I think I can tell you right now on North Shore Drive, we see people that are between Wheelie Avenue on the North Shore area to the south. They're already parking there. It's a street that doesn't have any frontage right now for homes, so it's not a problem. People ask, well, did you know those people were parking there? Well, yes, it's a public street, and it's okay. They park there and they take the bus, and it doesn't disrupt the neighborhood at all. We're talking about when your driveway will get blocked, or they're in front of your house, or you name it, the mailman or person can't deliver the mail anymore because they're parking there. And for those that are very, very close to the metro, that could be something that could start, and the way you will control it is to say, okay, it's illegal for them to be there. We can give tickets based on, the police will give tickets, and I should let.
He's going to speak to it. He's going
to talk about that. but that it can be controlled. Yeah.
Okay.
May I just
Thank you for speaking to that, because I noticed that I get that question a lot, and don't have baseball bats to bash onto these cars, please, which happened in the town of Vienna when it first opened. And I am really pleased to add a speaker. Lieutenant Ken Bain, who is Assistant Commander of the Reston Station, has asked that if he could speak about the opening of the rail, and I'm assuming some safety issues. So come on up and join us up here.
I'll speak from here.
Well, make sure you have turn your little, yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Lieutenant Ken Bain. I'm Assistant Commander of the Reston Station, and I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about what we're doing, your police department, to get prepared for the opening of the Silver Line. I am not a Reston resident, but in my 25 years here in the police department, I've been assigned here 4 times as an officer, as a sergeant, as a second lieutenant, and now the assistant commander. So I feel that I am part of this community, all right? And I'm very fortunate that to be here tonight to talk to you. And I'm excited, too, about what's going on here. It really is exciting what's going on with Reston. I think Reston's doing it right. They're taking small steps. They're preparing. And I tell you, it is a great time for us, I think, as a community with the opening of the Silver Line. Now, the challenges we had as a police department is none of our officers have ever been exposed to a metro station here in Reston. So over the summer, all 137 of our officers went to the... we have an equipment malfunction. No worries, no worries. It happens all the time. I'm surprised mine hasn't gone off. We've had all 137 officers go to the Dunn-Loring Metro for a week during the summer, and they received safety training on Metro Rail. Okay, none of our officers have been exposed to this before. So this was very important for them to get their safety measures, know what to do on the Metro Rail, on the platforms, boots on the ground, and Metro Transit provided that training. What we did from there is we took it a step further. We partnered with our school liaison commander with the police department, and we put a safety message to our school children within a mile radius of the Silver Line, making sure they know best practices being around the Silver Line. Then we reached out to our kinder care and our private schools that are near the Metro too to get that safety message out, and we put backpack letters out to the parents. So we really wanted to get that educational piece on safety to the children and the community as well. You know, the parking garage, the bus vault. Ellen, raise your hand back there. Ellen was very important to give us a tour of our police department. We put boots on the ground. We did your stress test. We were there. We saw the 100 buses coming in the loop. We saw the challenges. We're like, oh wow, how is this going to happen? But I can tell, yeah, it went well. It really did. It's loud in there when all the buses are going. If you don't know what a bus vault is, it's the only one I believe we have in the Virginia side of the Metro Rail system. So it's unique. It's the first one in Virginia, and it's a big vault that people come in and move out of. What's important to us is number one priority is pedestrian safety. You know, making sure people can get in and out of there, bicyclists. So we're really putting a lot of eyes on this to make sure that everything that can be done will be done. The 2,300 parking garages there, it's county owned. We're responsible for keeping your car safe in there while you're commuting. So that's very important to us. We will be patrolling the parking garage. Our officers have access to that. We've worked that out through IT, so we can get in and out of the parking garages very easily, and we will make sure the best of our abilities to keep your vehicle safe. That's a county garage that's owned by the county. It's right next to the W&OD trail. How cool is it? You can bike right to the Wheelie Metro Station, put your bikes up and go in. Our bicycle officers will have key fobs. I think we're working on those so we can get, and we'll have designated bike racks for our bicycle officers, and there'll be a visible presence, obviously, when it opens up. Residential parking districts, Ms. Hudgens talked about that. We are anticipating a lot of people will avoid wanting to pay the fee to park in the garage, and they're going to flood our communities. Loudoun County's right across the border. They're going to really use this metro a lot, along with our folks. And a lot of people will try to get out of paying, which will cause problems in our parking in our community and what have you. We're aware of that. We're anticipating that. When these residential parking districts go up, they put a sticker on your window. If you don't have these stickers and you're parked in the community, then you could be ticketed by the police. All right, all the metro, the Huntington Metro and Mount Vernon has that around there for that reason. Another thing we have to do before the station opens, we have to do an emergency incident on the Wheelie Metro to train our officers on an emergency exercise. We are planning with the Metro Transit Police to have that done. That is a requirement prior to the station opening. So our officers will be exposed to an emergency incident at the Metro station, so they're all familiar and we get that training in. That's important as well. I hope I'm not misquoting myself here, but cell phones in the parking garage should be functional. So if you need the police and you're 7-story subterranean, you should be able to get out okay. Our police radios have been worked there, so those are all safety measures that we got in place for the Metro opening up. I told you I'd keep it short, and that's it. We're excited about it opening. We too would like to know a date, but when it opens, rest assured we'll be ready. And our bicycle officers will be out there. They're our primary people you'll see for at least a month going in. When it opens up, there'll be a visible presence out there, and we're real excited about the opportunity to open this up with our community. Thank you.
Okay, we told you that we were, yes.
Just a reminder, MY is not here, but I just wanted to remind you to please take the packet that Marsha McAllister's given out. She has some really good information as well as photos of the stations, all of the stations and the both phases of the rail.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, well, we said there'd be a short program. We've covered a lot of material in a short period of time. You can see all the expertise in the room, and you can see what comes through to me, because I'm a volunteer, and I've been like Patty. We've been waiting a long time for rail to come to our community, and it's exciting to see that it is almost here, and it is here, but it's just not open yet. But to me, to see the excitement of the Fairfax County Office of Transportation staff that are working on this project, and to see their great enthusiasm, and to see that our safety officers are thrilled. This is kind of exciting to me as a resident, that they're not just going, oh, this was a lot of work, and I hope it's worth it. So this is exciting. Now, remember, your experts are going to be in the back of the room. You can seek them out. And Kate, we will be posting the different websites on the, where will they find it on the Reston page?
You can put it on the actual Metro page.
Right.
Have a Metro page on the website, so we can put it there.
Okay, so we'll be on the Metro page because the presentations will be there and these different maps will be there so that you can study them more closely. We have made the commitment that 6 months, approximately 6 months after they open the station, we'd like to reconvene and have another community workshop. The concept is the reality of rail once it is actually, it's here and what really happened so that we can talk as they talked about adjustments. So thanks so much for coming tonight and take advantage of the experts.
I hope that you all got a postcard. Everybody's gotten a postcard. Save the date on Saturday, Hunter Mill District Summit. So love to have you come out. There's lots of information about what's going on in the district. And stop by Frying Pan Park. Thanks very much.